Hi and welcome to my channel. It's always a great time when I get to play a TBR game, and we're going to play After Hours today. If you have not seen any of the After Hours stuff or any of that, then make sure that you stick around to the end. I will have the playlist linked there for you. I'm also going to link it up here, and yeah, let's just get into it. There's actually something I want to do before we get into it. So I'm going to be picking 10 books because I have to pick 10 books. But I was thinking that I want to go ahead and determine which book is the mandatory book before I pick it. So I'm going to go ahead right now and tell my phone to pick a number 1 to 10, and that's going to be the mandatory book, and then I'll get to pick the other 4. Pick a number 1 to 10.
It's 7.
Okay, so 7 is the mandatory book on the list, and the way I normally play it is I have to grab every book that I see. But what I think I'm going to do is you have 3 lives. You'll see at the top that I have 3 little book stacks. Those are like your lives in the game. So for my first life, I can do whatever I want. So I can be very picky about the books I pick. And then for my second life, if I get that far, I have to pick the first books that I see. So that's the way I'm going to do it. I'm hoping that I can get some horror and thriller because I've never gotten those on any of my things before. So I would really like to do that. Okay, here we go. I'm not picking that gothic book right off the front. Oh, I decided that I wanted to explore more this direction. Well, of course I can't get there. Let me go up. Oh my goodness. I don't even see, oh, I think I see something purple, but I don't remember what color that is. Fantasy, sci-fi. That is literary and contemporary. Let's see if I can get over here to this sci-fi fantasy. Ooh, it looks like I can. Okay, my first one is fantasy. Another gothic? Are they all gothic books all of a sudden? I want to find something else. Another fantasy? Oh, I can't get to it anyway. That one might have been middle grade over there, which I would love to have as well. No, it's also fantasy. We have fantasy, gothic, and literary. No, I don't want that. Did I just come from here? Oh my gosh. Oh, they're everywhere. Okay. I know I feel like I'm reversing my steps. Wait, I kind of am. Are you serious? I used my whole first life to literally just avoid some literary. There's fantasy. Maybe I'll spawn in a different spot. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Let me get something. Ah! Oh my gosh, romance. Oh, and horror. What? That was amazing. Okay. Oh, and another horror. What is happening right now? It's exactly what I said I wanted. Okay, let's go this way. And another horror? Is this game trolling me now? Because that's what I said I wanted. Middle grade, fantasy. Okay, I gotta get them both. Hold on. Fantasy, middle grade, thriller, mystery. I don't think I've ever gotten one of those. What? I got 4 horror books on this TBR. Okay. I gotta look at this. Let me get my face out of the way. Okay, here we go. So, fantasy sci-fi has to be a gifted book. Romance is going to be a Twitter pick. I do not use Twitter. So, anyway, it's a feed scroll. So, I will look through a feed and find it. Royal horror. How am I going to do that? Horror royalty. I don't know that I'm going to pick that one because that's going to be hard to do. The titular character in the title. Anybody else notice that it says genre crossover? Wow, I got titular character in the title twice. One of them is horror and one of them is fantasy sci-fi. I know what I want to do for fantasy sci-fi. Undefined middle grade, so I can pick whatever I want. A black cover for thriller mystery should be easy. Multiple POV for literary contemporary, and a hyped book for horror. Wow, I'm going to have to think about this. I will look at them all and then I will come back. Okay, so I'm scrolling on Instagram. I'm using Instagram on my desktop, which is so weird, but I didn't want to do it on my phone, whatever. So I'm trying to find a romance. So the first romance I find, which is probably going to take a minute because I follow a lot of fantasy readers, so we'll see. Okay, I finally found one. Y'all, I don't know how long this took, but this is my friend Fina, and hopefully I can find this check and mate. This is the only Allie Hazelwood that I have not read. So I'm not mad at it that this was the first romance I see. But also, you see, I follow a bunch of fantasy people because she's also reading House of Chains. She is German. So House of Chains is in German and Allie Hazelwood is in English. But anyway, that's what I'm going to read. So that's my romance feed scroll. I knew I wanted to do romance. Then I've got... Okay, I'm just going to pick my first middle grade that's on storygraph because it doesn't say that it is... it says unspecified or whatever. So that's the latest. I want the earliest so I can take my first book off. And I have Book Scavengers. Nice. I've been trying to get to this one. This one says it's only Kindle Unlimited, which means there's not an audio version of this. So this is going to take me a long time to read. Okay. But I'm doing it. Okay. So this is a fantasy and the 10,000 Doors of January. Her name is January. January Scalar or Scalar. So this is a fantasy with the character's name in the title. Okay, I did mystery thrillers and I needed to find a black on the cover. That is definitely dark black. It's historical mystery thriller. And then we've got a middle grade mystery. I really like this one though. It's definitely got dark. It's definitely blacker on the cover than the other one. It's more green, I think. So I think I'm going with this, The Mystery of Black Hollow Lane. I love that I'm getting middle grades on this list. And then I'll just have to pick my horror. Okay, I'm going to look for horror genre crossover. And so I'm putting this only on horror. So I have only my horror books. And then I'm going to look right here. It tells you, like this one right here, is fantasy horror. And so that's what I'm going to look through, is to find something that has horror and something else. And the first two of them are fantasy horror, and I want to read them both. So I guess I'm probably going to have to go for My Soul to Keep, only because it's the oldest one on my TBR. Okay, so here we go. It's on my list to read or get rid of, so I'm going to be reading this one. Okay, so here are the 5 books that I have for this round of After Hours. I've got Check and Mate for a romance feed scroll. I've got My Soul to Keep for a horror genre crossover. I've got The 10,000 Doors of January for a fantasy titular character in the title. I did go and look it up. I have pronounced that word 3 different ways, and I was like, hold on, it's titular, with a CH is what it says in the pronunciation guide. So anyway, just ignore the way I've said it every way up until now. Then I got middle grade free pick, and then I got mystery thriller with a black cover, and that's what I picked. So I am really excited about what I have for this week. Y'all, I just realized that number 7 was my mandatory one, and I totally forgot. I'm scared to go look at what it is now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It was the middle grade and I picked it anyway. Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay. I was like, man, I'm going to have to add another book because I really want to read these books. Okay. There we go. That's it. That's my After Hours. I cannot wait to read these books. So if you want to stick around and hear how last month's or last time's After Hours went, then stick around. If not, I will see you in another video. Let me know what you think about this, and don't forget, if you want to play this game yourself, the link is right down below. Okay, here are the ones from last time. I gave Through the Woods 4 stars. This was a graphic novel with 5 different stories in it. It was so good. I really enjoyed them. Then I had Burning Dawn, which I gave 4 stars. That was also part of Squash That series. That's why it says STS on it, as well as Words of Radiance, both of them. But this was just the next one in a series that I'm reading, and I'm pretty far along at this point. I'm on book 20-something, so I don't know what to say without giving away spoilers. And then I have the Enneagram 9 book. Now this, I have a physical copy of it. I also have a physical copy of Through the Woods as well, because it is a graphic novel. And so I am keeping graphic novels for my bookshelf. Will eventually just be graphic novels. But anyway, this book is 21 days of discussing what it means to be a type 9 on the Enneagram. So, not really something I can review or talk about. I do think I'm going to save it and read it periodically, like maybe twice a year or something, just to like go back through. It's nice to know why my brain is the way it is, or why I think some of the things that I do and react the way I do to certain things. But anyway, then we go to Words of Radiance. This is book 2 in the Stormlight Archive series, and it was a very long book. I started reading it on January the 1st, and it went until, I think I read it until almost the 20th of the month. But when I read The Way of Kings, which is the first book, I read it during a readathon, which is what this one was as well. But for that readathon, I felt like I needed to get it done quickly, and so I rushed through the book. And I didn't like the way I did it. Like, I still loved the book, but I thought this time I want to go slower. I want to take my time with what I'm doing. So I made it stretch out as long as I could, just because I wanted to really sit with what I was reading and not just read and then get to the next part and the next part and the next part. So anyway, I gave it 5 stars. I love it. I love the characters. And people who are further along in the series are worried about things that are going to happen at the end with some of our favorite characters. And so now I am worried for no reason. Like, I'm getting no hints that anything's happening with these people, but I hear other people talking about it and I'm like, should I be worried? So now I'm worried because I feel like I should be worried. But anyway, I read book number 2, and the next book I think is a novella, or I don't know, it's like a half book in between. So we'll see when I get there. And then I read Daisy Darker by Alice Feeney, and Daisy Darker is a person's name. So, by the way, if you need a thriller mystery with a titular character in the title, that's Daisy Darker. So the whole Darker family is brought out to this secluded cabin. It's not a cabin, a house that her grandmother owns. And we followed the family over the weekend, where it turns into one of those like, and then there were none situations. So if you like the closed circle isolation trope mystery situation, this one is definitely for you. I really enjoyed it, but I don't read a lot of those. So maybe it did the same thing that a bunch of books do, but because I don't read a lot of them, it was still new to me. So anyway, I liked it, and I'm glad that I finally read it. It's been on my list for a really long time, and I've just been meaning to get to it and kind of putting it off because I was a little bit scared, but I really liked it. It also had some poems in it that I thought were really clever, and I thought, is this one of those situations where you as a writer have written this poem into the book and then you're like, that is genius right there. Like, I did such a great job. I just feel like if I were a writer, there's so many times I would stop and be like, that was a great line I just wrote. And I'm just wondering if authors do that. I do that sometimes, but I write like essays and stuff like that. I write nonfiction stuff. So anyway, that is it. That's going to do it for the After Hours checkup and the After Hours new picks. I can't wait to get into these new books, and I will check back in with you when I finish reading them and get to play After Hours again. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.